Favourite restaurant?
Flatiron.
Meaty. I've actually never been there.
What?
I've actually never been to Flatiron.
How?
I don't know. I'm not really a meat eater. Isn't it just like steak?
It is just steak. It's like the fast food version of steak.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. I'm Sam Ellie, and this is Lonely Heroes.
I'm Judie. I'm from Taiwan, and I have been in the UK for 11 years now.
11 years.
Almost 12 years, actually. I have been in London for 5 years.
Oh, so you were somewhere before London?
Yes. So I left home when I was 14.
Okay.
I first went to Singapore for the old ancient O-levels.
Oh, the O-levels. We
Yeah.
call them GCSEs now, but that's okay.
Yeah, that's why I say it's ancient, right?
Oh, ancient, yes.
Yeah, it's
My mum
very
did
ancient. Yeah,
My mum did
exactly.
O-levels.
Exactly. Yeah, so Singapore being like a British colony before, they still do O-levels. They never changed to GCSE.
Okay.
So I went there, did that, and then realized that, that this is a British system. I might as well just come.
Might as well just traipse across the
Yeah.
world and come to London, because it is quite far away,
Yeah.
Taiwan. What would you say is like one thing that people should know about Taiwan?
There's a lot of things to talk about. So I'm like, right, what is the one top thing? Actually, I will go with the people. People are very, very friendly. You can never get lost. And it's super, super safe. Just for that, it's a great reason to travel because you won't get lost.
If you're wondering how to get to a place, they'll happy
Yeah.
to help you, basically.
We try to make things very convenient for foreigners. So say, we don't call it tube, we call it, right, I could be wrong on this one. I know in Singapore they call it MRT, but basically the tube equivalent. In Taiwan, when you hear the announcements, there's Mandarin, there's Taiwanese, I want to say there's Hakka, there's English, and there's Japanese.
Oh, so quite a metropolitan city, I guess.
Yeah, definitely. And this is across the whole island.
Oh, right.
Yeah, I get asked how big Taiwan is and what's the population like. So to give a reference point, it's almost like if we are talking about Ireland,
Okay.
Taiwan is a quarter of Ireland, and then the population is the reverse.
I'm just, sardines comes to mind. London. You came to the UK and then you thought, okay, London is your go-to, no, it's not, that's not, you do tell the story.
So when I came to the UK, I actually went to York
Okay.
for A-levels. And then for uni, I did apply for like universities in London and also applied for Heriot Watt in Edinburgh. I remember coming down to London for open days thinking, oh my God, this is so busy. This is so great. It was raining. It was dark. I'm not ready for this. And I just rejected the offers.
That's the reason I didn't go to York University, because the day I went, it was just grey and gross and I couldn't see myself. But then when I went to Bristol, it was a sunny day and it was like filled with
Yeah, exactly.
lovely, beautiful people. And I was like, okay, Bristol's more for me. But York, no.
So I went to Edinburgh. And then the first year of university, there was an internal recruitment with my previous employer. I got the job, and that job was in London.
Ah,
So that's how like it kind of falls into the London position. I didn't think I was ready for London, but then first year of uni, I got the job, and I was like, well, guess who's going to London?
is it something that you felt that you kind of needed to be ready for?
At the time, like obviously with how like gloomy the open days were, I didn't think I was ready. But now, like thinking back, I'm actually really grateful I never did London for uni, because London is expensive. Everyone knows that. And being a student is even more expensive just because you have no income to pay for your outgo, and it's a spending black hole. How are you going to pay for it?
That is such a good way of describing it, a spending black hole. I mean, it's terrible, but also it's literally the epitome of what it's like being a student and in an expensive city like London.
Yeah, think about freshers here, like all the drinking. How are we going to pay for that?
I don't know how they did it. So you have a job.
I'm an actuary in an insurance company, general insurance company, doing catastrophe risk management.
I feel stressed even thinking about that.
Because of
For
the
some-
word
I just kind of went-
catastrophe?
Yeah, I think so. Catastrophe risk management.
Yeah.
That sounds intense, to say the least.
In a way,
I would never be able to do what you do.
like trying to put a bit of context in here. The catastrophes that I'm like responsible for are like natural disasters.
Oh, right.
So it's actually not like, well, it's not like
something
terrorism.
to do with finance.
It's not like terrorism.
It's not terrorism. It's just earthquakes.
Earthquake, typhoon. My job being a risk manager includes like things like, okay, these are the budgets that we want.
Money.
Well, we want for our losses.
Okay.
As in, these are it's almost like we call it loss tolerance, risk tolerance. This is how much loss we can afford.
Right.
At least this is the target that we are hitting.
Is that quite a male-dominated field that you work in?
I would say normally yes.
Okay.
But my experience is a no.
Oh, that's good.
I think that's like a part of it is because a lot of my job involves a lot of reporting. And for some reason, my team is very female dominated actually.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, and then coming from Big Four,
And the big four, that's KPMG.
PwC,
PwC.
EY, and Deloitte.
Ah, yes. I think I know 3 of them.
3 of them are the British companies.
Oh,
and
that's
then
interesting.
There's one that's not.
You live in London, you work in London.
Yeah.
Have you tried dating in London?
Yes.
It's
Yes.
not the most popular subject in that it's been described as a wasteland. I would call it a bit of a jungle. Do you have a specific type you go for?
I do think my type constantly change.
You have one for the winter, one for the summer, you know.
One, like a slightly more controversial one, was actually, I think when I left uni, I was thinking that I'm not going to date someone outside that has only lived at home.
So has only lived with their parents or has only lived in like the country that they were born in? That kind of
Yeah,
thing?
kind of both.
Oh, okay.
So it's like if I'm in London, I'm not going to date someone that has only been like born in London, live in London, and London only. And like that was like my thinking. And the reason behind that was just because being away from home for almost half of my life.
Yeah.
On the scale of like independence versus the other side.
Dependence.
Dependence. I am probably on the extreme side of independence.
Yeah.
And I feel like if you're always at home, you just won't get it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's kind of like having a similar worldview.
Yeah, exactly.
If someone finds the value in traveling, in
Yeah.
seeing other cultures, in knowing other cultures, rather than just like sitting at home, going to the pub every so often or every day, I imagine that you have a lot more in common with someone who has that sort of independence. There are so many kind of ways that you can meet people these days. Is that something that you find overwhelming? Do you meet people usually sort of organically or?
Probably more organically.
Oh, really?
And the reason behind that is I got too into the functionalities of dating apps rather than meeting people. I was like, okay, let me just download every single thing to see what is going on.
Like, so what did
It's
you...
like Bumble. So for example, for Bumble,
Yeah.
females need to initiate first.
Oh, I forgot about that.
And then like, was it bagel and coffee that there's only 4 or 5?
What's bagel and coffee?
I think it's another dating app.
Oh, right.
It's like rather than liking someone, you're giving someone a bagel or something.
Oh,
And
okay.
then there was like a something Cupid one, OK Cupid or something.
Yeah, I think I've heard
Yeah.
of that. Is that for older people or is that just I'm making that up?
I don't know, but
Or if you're into older people, that's fine.
I think that one is like they actually assess your personalities and then give you a percentage match when you're trying to match someone.
Oh, okay. So it's a bit more technical,
Yeah.
less on the fly. Do you think to say it's a bit of a jungle is accurate? Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Whereabouts in London do you live?
I'm in Hendon,
Right.
so northwest,
Okay. Maybe a bit more families are
Yeah.
there? Yeah.
because it's quite close to quite a few schools.
Ah.
And then it's a Middlesex Uni.
Oh,
That's
yes.
around.
I mean, I'm also from North London, but I mean, I don't usually hang out in Hendon. I was saying to you before, I went to an amazing hummus bar there. I'm a huge fan of hummus, so much so that it's like I'm kind of made out of it. I feel like it's, I think they've got a few around, but yeah, Hendon, if anybody ever wants to go to Hendon, the hummus bar. So we're going to play a little game.
Okay.
It's a rapid fire round, so
Yep.
I don't want you to think too much. Favourite restaurant?
Flatiron.
Meaty. I've actually never been there.
What?
I've actually never been to Flatiron.
How?
I don't know. I'm not really a meat eater. Isn't it just like steak?
It is just steak. It's like the fast food version of steak.
Favourite bar?
Ooh, Black Lion. That's a pub in West Hampstead.
Oh, a pub.
Yeah. So I used to live in West Hampstead before I moved to Hendon.
Fancy.
And they do live music Friday, Saturday.
okay.
That's basically me every weekend, basically. I want to say every Wednesday they do a karaoke.
What
There
is
is a,
that?
there is a live band.
Okay.
They give you a few tokens that you can just write the song that you want to sing, and then the band will play, and then you go up and sing. So it's essentially a karaoke for like with the live band.
Oh, feels like quite piano worksy. If you've heard of that, piano works.
Yes.
In the sense that you're not singing with the band, but you give them sort of like
Yeah.
things to sing and whatever. You give them suggestions.
Yes.
Marmite.
It's alright. That's it. It's
So you
like,
disagree with the advert. You either love it or you hate it.
I have a very controversial way of using Marmite, I think.
How do you use Marmite?
Like, it can substitute like soya sauce.
Oh, I actually don't think that that's actually... I eat Vegemite. I prefer that to Marmite. Ever since I
Okay.
went to Australia, like
Yeah.
that's just far superior to Marmite. And I do actually add it to recipes.
It's like broth or soya sauce. I actually think it actually works that way.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. That's not an unpopular opinion. It might qualify as one to some people.
But on its own, no thanks.
Favourite activity?
Ooh, recently it's like just random e-bike.
Is that a line bike? I don't...
Yeah. I don't actually own the bike. Quite recently discovered is a site called Wandrer.
Wanderer.
Yeah. And it basically tracks where you have things and then it forms a big map. So for example, in London, I now have like, so I started using it in April. Somehow I started forming a B from Hendon and then to Hyde Park. And then the middle B that looks like a B is like Camden. And then it becomes, it's like I've traveled here and then here and then here.
Hendon to Camden to Hyde Park.
Yeah.
How long does that take?
It's
on a
like
bike?
multiple trips.
Oh,
So you basically
I see.
put everything together.
I thought you went on a really long distance bike ride one day.
And nah, not that advanced.
That's cool though, getting into cycling. Good for the
Yes.
health, good for the mental health too.
Exactly.
Camden.
Leather jacket.
Leather jackets. Yeah, I'd take that.
My understanding is Camden came from the whole bit was about leather at the start, right?
I do see a lot of people in leather. I
Yeah.
do see a lot of people in their big platforms, which I love because I'm 5'2", so.
So I'm like 5'9". I tell people that I'm on average. I'm on Taiwanese male average height.
Yeah, you're my dad's height. Yeah.
So I'm not on female average, I'm on male average. But that does mean I'm quite tall. And because of that, when I first came to the UK, I spent all my reading weeks and half terms going to Europe with empty suitcases, coming back with shoes.
Nice.
Because I was on plus size in Taiwan
Yeah.
for shoes, and that explains how small they are. And two, it's so much easier to get heels here. And then like I wear heels, no one's looking at me like randomly. Whereas like when I go home, my parents would be like, "Don't bring heels. You are not going to wear it, so don't even bother. I won't let you." I was
Your
like,
parents sound quite pragmatic, actually. So
"You're already a giant. Do you want to hit the ceiling everywhere?"
I remember when I was younger, I used to always want to be... If you're small,
Yeah.
you want to be tall. If you're tall, you want to be small. I felt like not being able to become a model because I was 5'2"
Yeah.
deprived me of a part of a life I could have had, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
I used to like see tall people and I'd go, you could be a model, like you could actually be, you could be the next Gigi Hadid. How often do you go back to Taiwan?
Every 2 years, mostly when there is an election.
When there's an election, okay.
It's a more of a do it while you can
Yeah.
kind of vibe.
Whilst you have that kind of power.
Yep.
Do you miss that lifestyle? Do you miss Taiwan at all?
Not quite in the sense because I'm not like obviously I left home quite early on.
Yeah.
A lot of my friends group are from places I've been after working.
Yeah.
I actually can't imagine me working in Taiwanese environment and I don't even know how it looks like.
Oh, I guess the work culture might be different. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's true.
All the work that I do, all the professional terminology and things like that, they're all in English. Like ask me to translate anything into Chinese, I'll be like, no. Pass.
Technical terms and,
Yeah.
and things like that. The fact that you came all the way here, is it something that people over there that you know have been like, oh my God, that's fucking brave, to be honest. Like the fact that you came all the way here on your own and then have just become this independent force.
I would say like it's quite popular for people to leave home.
Yeah.
So the common rules that people come here for, one is studying, and then studying and then staying for work or studying, going back. And then the other one that's not like as well known. I would say like people will know it for other countries, but not in this country. Is
Yeah.
working holidays.
Oh, yeah, I don't know.
It's normally Australia or New Zealand, right?
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, we have working holiday scheme for the UK. So a lot of people come here for this.
Oh, not quite carrot picking and surface paradise in London, I think. So
If you consider Louis Vuitton and those luxury brands as carrots, then sure.
yeah, sure. Yes, Gucci, my favourite carrot. What's your favourite vegetable? Ooh, I can't think of any luxury brand. Audemars Piguet.
I think most of them tend to stay in retailer when they are here. They tend to do like selling
Oh,
luxury
retail.
bags. Yeah.
I see. That's quite an exciting environment to be in, although now everything's sort of online, so I guess...
Well, but then the tourism is coming back. So it does bring a bit of their biggest advantage would be speaking the language, right?
Yeah, that's true. For anybody that wants to move abroad, who wants to come to London, who wants to go to York or Edinburgh even, what would you say to them? What kind of prepared you for that move?
For those who are about to come to study or who are currently studying here, if the plan is to stay, remember that your plan is to stay. Do whatever you need to do to stay. Because it's quite important to know what you want before you do anything. Especially London. London is such a big place that if you don't know what you want, someone will figure it out for you. And then you will end up doing something that someone else wants.
Someone will snatch that right from under you. If anybody's indecisive, the moral is...
Follow your first instinct if you really can't decide. Think harder. And then you will realize that you still end up with your first one.
So if you're thinking of coming to London but aren't that sure, think harder. I love it.
Yeah.
I do. I love that.
Like, do you actually want it, or like this is kind of an optional? Then if it's an optional, why are you wasting your time?
Why are you wasting our time? I love that.
No one is responsible for making that decision for
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
So yeah, and one point to touch around, you know how you were saying I was brave?
Yeah, I think you are.
Personally, I'm like a little bit like of thanks. Like, thanks, I will take that as a compliment. But from my view, because I came out so young,
Yeah.
I don't think I am the brave one. I would say my parents are the brave ones.
Oh.
Because when I was 14, oh my God, the world is big. The world is my oyster. I don't know anything. I just want to try everything. I have no idea what the concept of risk is. It's funny, I mean, risk, but I didn't know what that was all about at the time.
Oh, that is so interesting because like you had no idea what the concept of risk is, and now you are literally working in risk.
What basically has happened was I tried multiple things. I was in Singapore for 2 years. This is actually quite an interesting story. So the story started with my mom was like, do you want to go abroad and study? Do you want to go to Singapore and study? I was like, yeah, sure. And then she went, okay, cool. Like, do your student agency and whatsoever. Like, do it yourself. And then I will review it kind of thing. And I was like, okay, cool. And don't trust a 14 years old doing that because I literally clicked whatever I see first on Google. That's all the due diligence I did.
Yeah.
And that obviously didn't turn well. I went there 2 years, 10 accommodation. Change of student agency, change of guardians, and then change of landlords and everything. So that's why when I came to York, we were like, okay, cool, it's a boarding school. At least that guarantees a 2-year stability. So we were like, okay, cool. And then that's when I realized that, okay, you actually need proper planning. So that kind of like leads me to risk. And then catastrophe, it's just more tangible, just given there's a lot of earthquakes and typhoon in Taiwan.
Yes, and it also sounds very intense for someone who works in like... Well, to be fair, I do work in news, so it's kind of... You are sort of confronted with catastrophes all the time. Now thinking about it, you kind of are a bit desensitized to it because you're talking about it and are surrounded by those kinds of stories all the time.
Yeah, and also given we're in risk management, we're also thinking about how to prevent the risk. So in that sense, it feels slightly more positive.
Rather than just reporting on it once it's happened. Yeah, fair enough.
But then it's like, I don't know. I would say the crisis management team in Taiwan is very good. I feel like there would have been more death if the crisis management didn't.
Yeah, no. So you're basically telling me that you're a superhero in the sense that you prevent natural disasters from killing more people, is basically what you're saying.
I mean, they are.
Yeah.
The crisis management team, definitely they are. Not us. I'm talking about the...
I'm just Robin. They're Batman. I'm just little Robin. Yeah, this has been Sam, Ellie, and...
This is Judie.
Yes, Judie, the superhero.
Thanks.
You're welcome. All the way from Taiwan, who's been here for nearly 13 years. Thank you for watching, and have a good rest of your day.
Bye.
Bye!